Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
Welcome in to Hoist the Colors on this Wednesday, November 27th edition of the program. Very exciting show scheduled for today. We are live streaming early, 10 a.m. Of course, we'll be in our usual radio time slot on 94.3 The Game. But if you want to get in a question, comment, concern live, make sure you drop it on our YouTube or Facebook chat. All right, we are going to quickly jump into today's cast. We've got Bobby Howard in the 94.3 The Game studios, as well as Philip Pilkington, producing as always, now currently ongoing. I love it that we're both in the Hoist the Color shirts, by the way, as we pan to Bobby. A nice shirt, man.
It very comfortable. The logo is a little low. It aligns perfectly with my middies right across the bottom there, but very comfortable shirt, and I'm glad it worked out that we could be matching today.
Yeah, the printing company, they're sending us a new version with the logo higher, so we'll have multiple free shirts, which is good. Philip, where's your Hoist the Color shirt, man? Did you miss the memo?
I did. I got left off that text. I wanted to dress. I know we have to go to that press conference in Harvey Hall, which if you're listening on the radio, that's where we currently are. If you're watching on the stream, it's 2 hours from now. So, I was like, I guess this is not collared, it's quarter zip. But, I don't know. I just didn't want to wear a plain T-shirt.
By the way, Bobby Howard brought to you today by Sup Dogs. You guys know the deal. Check them out in downtown Greenville. Multiple-time Barstool Best Bar winner. All right, guys, we got a lot to discuss. We'll make our game picks later. Going on, if you're listening to our live stream currently, the Board of Trustees meeting is starting. They're going to formally approve Blake Harrell being the next head coach. And just as a heads up, I've got several emails out to ECU to get a copy of the contract, the terms of the new agreement with Blake Harrell. So if I get that during the show, we will go over that to at least some extent, as fast as I can read contract language live on the air, which is challenging. We'll do that. If you're listening to our radio version, again, this is intersecting with the live press conference at 12 noon. So you can hear that. I believe that's being live streamed. But if you want to hear that later, that'll be up on, I'm sure, the ECU Athletics YouTube page, and we may try to get it up as well, depending on the view. All right, we have gotten plenty of takes from me and Philip this week on the Blake Harrell hiring, so let's get Bobby's take as obviously Blake Harrell moving into the permanent head coaching role. Bobby, what was your reaction to the news?
First off, man, I'm just so excited for Blake. I think this was the right move by John Gilbert. Going into when Mike Houston was fired, there was really just a lot of question marks. It was like, how legit of a chance does Blake Harrell have at getting this full-time position? And honestly, he has checked every single box along the way. He has pulled every string correctly. And to me, this was the right hire. I'm a little shocked he didn't wait till after Navy, but from just a roster construction standpoint and some of the stuff that you've reported on with wanting to get to a better bowl game, makes a lot of sense. I do think this is the right hire at the right time, and quite honestly, like, Blake gets it, man. And I started recognizing that from his very first press conference. Like, he gets it from a player's coach perspective. He gets it from just Pirate Nation's perspective. I mean, how awesome was that at Monday night at Tiebreakers for him to pick up the tab for everybody? Like, that's just, again, he's pulling all the right strings at the right times.
No doubt, and I couldn't be more happy for Blake personally because he's such an awesome guy. And I guess my only concern is in the short term, like, how much of a distraction is this? I mean, it's pretty unique to have a head coach. I assume Blake will be there at the press conference Wednesday, later this afternoon as we talk live here Wednesday morning. But, like, he's tried his best, Bobby, to try and deflect it, but it's such a massive moment. I would assume a dream job situation in many ways. So, like, how much of a worry, and we can get into this in our picks in a little bit, is this being a distraction, ahead of the Navy game?
Number one, I fully expect Blake to still take that approach in his press conference today as he answers questions and stuff. he'll be forthright with some things and the excitement of being named a head football coach at a Division I program in FBS school. Like that's what I'm sure he got into coaching for and to do, along with helping the kids. But I told Philip as we were in here chit-chatting before the show started, like, I felt a lot better picking ECU in my picks before Blake got named the interim coach, the full-time coach. I feel like when that interim label is removed, teams have a letdown game, and that why, I don't know. Maybe they just are really excited for the coach and they lose focus on their goal of beating that next opponent. But that does give me a little bit of concern. I feel like the way Blake has approached this, though, maybe gives me a little bit of hope that, hey, maybe they will stay focused on Navy. They know what's at stake. They can get to 8 wins. They can have outright possession of third place in the conference, which is a big deal. I mean, considering where we were after Charlotte week, like, this is a drastic turnaround. So hopefully the boys stay focused on the goal. I'd expect Blake to take the same approach and not change the way he's been doing things the last few weeks.
Philip, does it help at all that you've got senior day and, it's not like ECU can really overlook or look past Navy given the history of the matchup. So I feel like the players should be locked in. And obviously it is a challenge with Blake having to deal with this. You got a short week, Navy off a bye. But I feel like the players should, for the most part, be locked in, even though it's been kind of an emotional week.
Yeah, I think so. You mentioned kind of the bad history against Navy, and we know how different practices Navy week than it is other weeks, especially for the defensive side of the ball. So with that being said, maybe that does help because, look, a coach being hired, distraction. Senior night, distraction. So if you were going out there and playing Temple, FAU, some other team that you're clearly better than, that's not a rival, that's just a nameless, faceless opponent, which that's what they're all supposed to be, but it's a little bit maybe easier to get caught up in the craziness. You have to be so laser focused and so disciplined to play Navy. Maybe it is kind of a blessing in disguise that they're taking on a team like Navy as opposed to, again, Temple, FAU, Rice, UAB.
And I'll also add to that point, too, being a short week, they have to condense all that work into one less day. They have 6 days now to prepare. The American schedulers have never given us any favors with Navy, and it's even worse this year than in the past, being on a short week coming back from Denton, Texas. But still, hopefully, to your point too, Philip, that shortened week allows them, like, hey, we really have to focus in because we have to get our work that we normally do in 7 days down into 6 days this week, along with the Thanksgiving holiday. That's an additional distraction.
Yeah, that's a good point. We talked to both Omar Rogers. Sorry, I just want to be quick. We talked to Rogers and Surad Ware yesterday, and they both said it kind of had not hit them yet. And I think that's a lot of the fact that there is just so much going on so fast. It's kind of hard to even think about, hey, this is my last normal game week.
A lot to cover in a short amount of time, that's for sure. Bobby, with Blake being named the head coach, what questions do you have in the immediate future, obviously after this season, regular season finale? Like, what are you most looking forward to finding out kind of what's next for Blake Harrell and how he approaches this thing?
No, that's a really good question. I think one of my questions early was, okay, he's been calling it very loose. They've been very aggressive in the way he's done things and approached it. And, as those weeks went on and after those first 2 weeks of him being in the interim guy and beating Temple and beating FAU, you started seeing that aggressiveness carry on into Tulsa and carry on last week into North Texas. And then I started thinking about it more. Blake Harrell's whole approach as a defensive coordinator is to be super aggressive. He's been one of the most aggressive defensive coordinators that I've watched intently, obviously being an ECU fan, but the way he approaches it from a blitz standpoint, he's not afraid to bring it. He's not afraid to put his corners on islands and play man-to-man coverage. Obviously, that helped a lot more when you had Savone Rebel lining up in the boundary, but still, he's a super aggressive defensive coordinator, and I think he's aggressive by nature. So I'm really excited about that aspect of it. I do have some questions. Just when you are in that chair as the head coach, things are a little bit different. The thing I do like, and Philip and I, this goes back to a conversation again we were just having before here, like the reason I like this hire so much is it allows roster retention in a year or in an era of college football where things are so year to year. And if we win on Friday, we have sole possession of third place. UNC just opened up. Summerall's name at Tulane has been tossed around quite a bit by a lot of big-name national reporters saying that he's the guy that Carolina wants. So he's gone. Maybe this is a year Silverfield gets a job at Memphis. Like, it's hard for Memphis to hit on the right head coach, and same with Tulane year in and year out. And the fact that we have the opportunity now to bring back the majority of our roster, retaining Blake Harrell, retaining JDB, and the majority of the coaching staff, to me, that is a plus when our schedule is going to be a little bit more difficult next year to set us up for success. Now, the other question I have, recruiting. How is that going to be as the final pitch man now as the head coach? What gives me hope? We talked about this a lot last year, because the analogy was made that, or the assumption was made that Mike Houston didn't expect to be here because the offensive staff didn't recruit and bring in guys. Well, what side of the ball did recruit over the last 4 years? Defense. Who recruited appropriately and correctly to their scheme? Blake Harrell and that defense. So that is what gives me hope, is the aggressiveness style of coaching, along with the hits and recruiting on the defensive side of the ball, finishing the job to get those defensive players. Hopefully that carries over on the offensive side too.
No doubt, good answers there. And just put up a few articles on Hoist the Colors. A lot of recruiting activity. The last 24 hours is basically like the coaching staff is like, oh, yeah, we are probably going to be retained now. We better start recruiting. Offensive line just offered 4 transfers, JUCO and portal guys already in the portal. Of course, the portal doesn't open until December 9th, but you've got Kennesaw State transfer they offered because their coach was fired. So they're starting center as a true freshman this past year. ECU has offered him. There's also a few other guys in there as well that have been offered. And then ECU also offered the younger brother of Chase Sowell and the younger brother of Yannick Smith. Basically the R.J. Felton treatment, Philip. And I got to say, I think this is brilliant. First off, both guys are potential Division I players, so you're not just offering them just to keep Yannick and Chase. But I think this is a brilliant move by Blake Harrell and the staff.
It's interesting, too, because you do want to keep those guys, especially Yannick Smith, because there's a good chance of it jumping ship, but just because of how good he is. But what it comes down to is, and you don't know college football until you've been in college football. You don't know college football camp until you've been a part of college football camp. But when you have an older sibling that has that relationship with the coaching staff and can prepare you as best as they can for what is ahead, sometimes maybe that learning curve is not as much as a young man who is the first in his family to play college football, or is the first, of at least of his siblings to go on and play college football. So the fact that, you've had an older brother that's told you day in and day out, you've talked to on the phone, and he said, yeah, here's how it is, and this is what the coaching staff expects. There's really no shocks when you get there. So that really helps, and maybe those guys can make an impact earlier than someone else would of the same skill set.
We've seen it with multiple sports now. Obviously, Ryan Stevens' younger brother, Chad Stevens, is a young receiver on the team. I think has a chance to play next year. We talked about Felton. And then in baseball, Michael Irby and Austin Irby, 2 guys who I expect to contribute this year. So a lot of the Agnos brothers in the past, obviously the Norby brothers. So baseball's been doing it. Blake Harrell mentioned Cliff Godwin reaching out to him, and obviously he's reached out to Ruff McNeil. I'm very interested, guys, especially Bobby, to get your take on this. Who does he bring in on his staff? Mike Houston made a lot of these hires, especially, defensively. Obviously, Blake had a say in them. But this is going to be Blake's staff now. So who does he bring in from a support staff standpoint? What happens with, does he retain Big John as strength coach? These are things I legitimately don't know. I guess at this point only Blake knows. Who does he add as DC? Does he promote Tesh? Does he still call it? I know Mike Houston, when he got the Lenore Ryan job, he called the defense at Lenore Ryan and the Citadel, and then he passed along those when he got the James Madison job, he passed up those duties. So how does Blake approach that? So those are all things I'm looking forward to finding out as well, Bobby, just how he assembles the staff and calls it going forward.
No, that's a good question, and that probably boils into my answer from the last question that you asked in terms of what are some questions that I have for Blake Harrell. And, the staff is going to be number one or up at the top of that list. My opinion, or one thing that I think has helped him, is he's been calling it and being the head guy here for the last 4 or 5 weeks. So he's having experience of that. He's getting the opportunity to try that out and to see if he likes that and see if he can balance that. Now, the one thing is I would assume, and he probably should, get rid of the linebacker duties and pass that off. So whether he calls it or not, he does not need to be coaching a position room anymore. My opinion, what I would do if I was Blake Harrell, and this is just from the outside looking in, I would promote Roy Tesh. That, to me, is an easy hire. I guess let me say this. I promote Roy Tesh if Blake Harrell is calling the defense. I put Roy Tesh in that defensive coordinator title. The concern having a D-line coach is, they're not tied into the secondary. That's why they normally say linebacker coaches and even safety coaches are the best coordinators, because those two positions are tied into the run fit and the pass coverage more than any other position on the defense. So there is some concern there, but if it was me, I would be promoting Roy Tesh, the DC in title, bringing in a linebacker coach from the outside to coach. Now, what will be interesting, if he doesn't take that approach, does he just bring somebody in to coach linebackers at that point in time? Then what happens to Roy Tesh? Offensive side of the ball, I think that stays the same. Support staff-wise is what's going to be interesting. What are some of those ideas and visions that Blake Harrell has from the recruiting side, how to attack the portal, how to attack NIL? Those things are going to be key in who he hires and how he constructs his staff from a support staff side of things.
All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We'll talk more ECU Navy. We'll make our college picks as well. We'll continue to keep you updated once we hear an official word from the Board of Trustees meeting too. This is Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast, Bow Coast. Located in Beaufort, North Carolina, Southern Living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
play here. Arr! This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo.
Yes! That was so good!
On 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here, Wednesday edition. Again, programming notes. This is our last Hoist the Colors show of this week. We'll be back next week, obviously, and wanted to announce we've also got a special edition of the Logan Zone. We recorded that yesterday. Steve Logan and myself, I'm your special guest host. Quite an honor. And we answered a ton of questions, got through it, and went down memory lane with Coach Logan, talked about the state of college football, got his thoughts on the Blake Harrell situation and more. So tune in. Philip, that'll be, 5 to 7 tomorrow in the normal time slot for the Logan Zone, and obviously archived anywhere for people that want to hear it?
Yes, that is correct. Okay.
So, again, I know a lot of people be busy with either early Black Friday shopping or Thanksgiving with their families, but it will be archived on all the platforms. And so look forward to that and getting Coach Logan's thoughts on a number of different items. All right, gentlemen, time to make some picks. Another 500 week. I know for me, what about you guys? Did y'all go 500 as well?
You picked another game up on us. Bobby and I both went 5-7, despite all of our differing picks last week. I think we were just bad on the ones that he and I were the same on.
I mean, I guess if I keep going 500, I'm going to maybe catch you guys, but I'm going to run out of time eventually. I need a big week. I feel like I've gone 500 like 7 of the past 8 weeks outside of that just horrific week or around there. I don't know.
Yes, you've gone starting with last week, 6-6, 6-6, 6-6, 2-10, 6-6, 6-7, 6-5-1, 6-6, 5-5-2.
Gosh, I'm the most mid picker ever. What are our updated standings overall?
All right, so I'm 77-74. Bobby is 76-75, and you are 70-81.
All right, need a big week to have a shot here. I'm running out of time, and you guys are competing for the championship. So let's get into it, guys. ECU and Navy. Johnny Robertson, by the way, adding a point of reference. The Pirates have not scored a point in the third quarter versus Navy since 2016 when Gardner Minshew threw a 77-yard touchdown to Isaiah Jones. That was also the game that Jones broke the all-time receptions record. So little nugget there. By the way, last year's Navy game in Annapolis was probably the worst football game I've ever witnessed in person. Just wanted to add that as well.
You don't go to Panther games anymore, do you?
No. I mean, if I did, that would be a contender for sure. East Carolina is a 2.5-point favorite. This line has shifted. Again, this was as of last night, so the number may have moved again. Right now, we're going to pick it as I picked it last night. ECU, a 2.5-point favorite. Started off with ECU favored by 2.5, then with the Navy by 2.5. Now is back to ECU. This is a challenging pick. Navy's off a bye, emotional week for ECU. We don't know the status of Blake Horvath. To me, if we knew Blake Horvath was out, I'd easily pick ECU and feel good about it. But I think just with everything happening this week, it's going to be tough. The history of Navy ECU, I'm going to pick Navy to win the game. I don't feel good about it, but I'm picking the midshipman. Bobby.
Boo! You should be getting booed right now.
That's fair. I'm a non-believer.
You are a non-believer, but hey, you're probably the smart one because you're relying on history, which tells us to go Navy. Regardless, though, as I mentioned in the first segment, if Blake Harrell was not named the guy, I'd feel 100% confident going with ECU here with this pick. I still feel confident in that because so much of the triple option offense relies on the quarterback. If Horvath is out in any way, shape, or form, or if he's severely dinged up and gutting it through, like that's going to be advantage ECU. This veteran defensive front has seen the triple option year in and year out. They know what they're doing. This defensive staff knows what they're doing against a triple option, and we finally have an offense this year to combat that. I don't think as Navy's as good as their record shows, along with some of our other opponents that we face this year. Give me the Pirates.
Unfortunately, I've been burned on too many Pirates senior days, as well as also been burned on too many times thinking that we can actually beat Navy. I think 2020 against SMU was the last senior day the Pirates won on. I think that might be since I got here in 2017. I believe that's only their second senior day win. I could be wrong on that, but I remember the win against Cincinnati in 2017. And other than that, senior day has been rough. For some reason, we just don't show out on senior day, so give me Navy.
Let me ask y'all this. If we get intel prior to the game that Horvath isn't playing, am I allowed to change my pick, or do we have to stick with our pick?
I think we go under the assumption Horvath is not playing.
I think we do too.
Well,
like the Brock Purdy thing, full disclosure, we changed it last week when we found out Purdy wasn't playing. That's totally different. Yeah. We had no idea he wasn't going to play. I don't think he's going to play.
I've just been texting with people that say he's doing some things at practice, but they're worried if he gets hit, it's going to re-injure the rib, back, whatever it's going on. So, I don't know.
They're saving him for the Army game. He ain't playing.
They have another bye for this week. All right, I'll just roll with Navy. Screw it. All right. Bobby will probably be right. But, all right, our next pick, gentlemen, South Carolina at Clemson. Clemson, if they win this game, may just sneak into the playoffs, and honestly, South Carolina may have a shot as well. This is about the biggest South Carolina-Clemson game there has been in quite some time. You know, Beamer is – I'm torn on this one too, guys. Beamer has a way of just getting the guys ready to go in these big games, but this one's on the road. Clemson's had a very disappointing season. It just feels like they're due for a breakout game. That said, I think South Carolina's a better team. I'm going to say the Gamecocks go into Death Valley, get the win. Give me Shane Beamer. Bobby.
I'm with you. Beamer goes into Death Valley, gets the W. Clemson has had a rough or difficult season. Maybe not difficult. Frustrating is probably a better word to use there. But they've had a frustrating season. I think those frustrations continue. Dabo continues to try to keep having his hand mixing with the offensive side of the football and causes more issues there on the offensive side of the ball. Give me the Gamecocks.
You're crazy. This game's in Death Valley. Clemson isn't losing this game. Come on. They know their season's on the line. They know they're probably not going to play for an ACC championship, so they're not going to get that automatic bid. It's going to go to SMU and Rhett Lashley. They know they got to win this football game. Give me the Tigers.
This is just like the we both of us picked Indiana last week, and Philip went Ohio State. So this is another one of those when we see Philip at the top of the standings at the end of the year. This is why.
I was originally with Philip, and then I looked at Clemson's schedule, and they have faced two good football teams this year, and they got crushed in both games, Louisville and Georgia.
I don't think South Carolina's good.
I think South Carolina is going to run the ball and just control the game. I just think they're better. But I again, losing this game in Death Valley, it's hard to imagine them doing that. But I just don't know if Clemson's good. I don't know. It's college football. Are there many good teams? I don't know. It just feels a little watered down this year, which maybe is a good thing for the playoff. All right, guys. Michigan at Ohio State. Usually a very close spread. This year, Ohio State is a 20.5-point favorite. Michigan, for reference, they lost to Oregon at home by 21. They lost to Indiana on the road by 5. They're coming off a 50-6 victory over Northwestern. They beat USC at home by 3. They lost to Texas by 19. 20.5 is a lot of points, but Ohio State and Ryan Day is criticized heavily for not winning these games the last few years, so I'm going to go with Ohio State here to roll and to cover the spread.
I'm kind of shocked here that you put this game down instead of Colorado, Oklahoma State. I thought you were going to want to find a way to get Dion on the sheet again.
I just had to pick one more Colorado loss and be right on it, and now I'm good.
You're happy now. You're satisfied for the rest of the year. As Philip said last week, Buckeyes are at the Horseshoe. They're not going to lose. 20.5 is a lot, but I think the Buckeyes are that much better than Michigan. Michigan has zero offense. Give me the Buckeyes.
This game will be nowhere near the spread. Either somehow, some miraculous way, Michigan will find a way to – I can mute your mic, Bobby, if you're about to sneeze or cough. Are you about to?
I'm good. Yeah,
okay.
thank you.
Either Michigan will find a way to hang in this and Ohio State will squeak it out, or Ohio State will throttle them and already have this spread covered by halftime. I'm going to stick to what I said last week, Ohio State in the horseshoe. They're going to have this covered. They're going to go into halftime up 24-0.
Michigan has won 3 in a row, but of course that was under Harbaugh. Maybe Harbaugh will return as like honorary head coach and just lead Michigan to victory just to get Ryan Day fired. All right, our next pick here, Auburn and Alabama, another rivalry game. Alabama, an 11.5-point favorite. Auburn off a big win. Bama just atrocious at Oklahoma last week. This is another game where Auburn lost last year in heartbreaking fashion, had no business losing. But I think going to Bama off a loss, Bama still with an outside shot at the playoff. I'm going to go Crimson Tide to cover the spread. Bobby.
Yep, roll Tide. You add Bama's horrendous performance in Oklahoma with Auburn's win against Texas A&M, an emotional game in overtime, or I think multiple overtimes last week. Give me the Tide to get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to go Bama as well.
All right, there are your picks for Auburn, Alabama. Notre Dame, a 7.5-point favorite at Southern California. I'm torn on this one, guys, so I'm going to let y'all go first. Bobby,
what did I tell y'all last week? Wake up the Echo. Wake up the Echo again in Southern California. I know this is a rivalry game. I know they're going across multiple time zones, which I know is one of Philip's telltale signs on who to pick here, but I'm going against the grain there. Give me the Irish to get it done. I just don't think SC is very good. I know they've switched quarterbacks, and I still don't think this backup quarterback is as good as Miller Moss was. I think Lincoln Riley is a little desperate right now. Give me Marcus Freeman and the Irish to get it done.
This is the hardest pick to me out of all of them. It really is. Notre Dame's going to win the game. It's just a matter of do they go out and win it by 14 or do they win on a last-second field goal. It's going to be tough, but I watched USC play UCLA last week. USC is just bad. They're bad.
They're not good. Yeah, they really, they barely beat Mr. We're both in L.A., Deshaun Foster, although he's kind of had the guys playing well.
They've looked better, but...
Yeah, well compared to my expectations for him. I thought they were going to go 1-11.
Philip, did you go Notre Dame there? Is that who you went?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, looking at the last few meetings, Notre Dame has really struggled in Los Angeles. But I just think Notre Dame, or I think USC's not a good team. So give me Notre Dame to cover 7.5 on the road. I don't feel good about it at all, but I'll go Fighting Irish. Texas, last college pick here. Texas, a 5.5-point favorite going to Texas A&M. This should be a well of a game to watch. I'm going to go with A&M at home to cover, if not win outright. I think it's going to be an absolute madhouse, and I think if they do lose, it'll be by a field goal or less. Bobby.
Hook 'em horns. I'm hesitant with this pick because it is at Kyle Field, but I don't think this is the year for A&M, as it shouldn't be. It's first year under Mike Elko. I think last week at Auburn they proved to me they're not ready for that jump yet this season. I think Texas is a well-rounded football team. Their defense is stout, and A&M's offense got exposed a little bit. I'm also a little ill towards A&M because when they were down by 14, I took them at plus 320 to win, and they got it all the way to overtime and then just peed down their leg and didn't get it done and lost me $5. So give me the horns.
That is a legit reason to not pick a team. But I'm gonna ride off Igo here. This is another tough one. I could see Texas going out there and winning it by 10. I really could. They're up 3 and they backdoor cover with a late touchdown, but I just think it's going to be a dogfight. I don't know who's going to win the game, but I think it's going to be a dogfight, so I'm just going to take the dog by default so that I can get them winning as well as some points if they lose. So give me A&M.
First game between Texas and Texas A&M in 13 years, so I'm looking forward to this one. All right, let's get a break in, guys. We will come back, and we'll make our NFL picks on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arrgh!
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here on a Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Bobby Harward alongside, again, brought to you by Sup Dogs. You guys know the deal. Check them out downtown Greenville. Also, make sure to support Crush Vodka. Sup Dogs just does a tremendous job, not only with their business, but supporting Team Boneyard and ECU Athletics as a whole. So give back to that community so they can continue to give back to ECU. Bobby Harward with us, Philip Pilkington with us. We're about to pick NFL games. We just picked college football. Want to give a shout out to the Las Vegas Raiders for being the most incompetent franchise and not being able to score from the inch-yard line to backdoor cover last week's 6-point spread. I know we were all pretty mad about that one.
That was not ideal at all. We all went Raiders there, so of course they're going to go against the grain. Philip and I were talking, though, in between breaks here. We're curious, why didn't you want to go with Mac Brown's last game, NC State, on the Pick'ems? I mean, celebrating a UNC legend on Hoist the Colors.
I very much thought about adding that game. I tell you what, we can pick it in our final segment if you guys want to add a 7th game.
I'm down.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
He's not done any of those this year. We didn't pick Duke State. We didn't pick Carolina Duke.
Are you against North Carolina?
Yeah. This is an ECU-centric show.
But
now that Casey Romeli is gone.
Are you against the state of North Carolina in general?
Last year we picked every NC State game, it seemed to because it was just an excuse for Igo to come on here and bash State every week.
Look, I enjoy good football, not mediocre football. Unfortunately, the state of Carolina is less than mediocre football this year. So
The state of Carolina.
the state of Carolina, North Carolina, I guess South Carolina has good football this year. We'll pick it final segment. That's fine, guys. I know y'all love UNC and NC State and Duke, so it's okay. No love for Wake Forest, though. All right, let's pick some NFL games. Dolphins at Packers. This will be a Thursday night game. I saw, a high of 35 degrees in Lambeau Field. Dolphins playing well. They're trying to catch the bottom of the AFC wild card, rally behind Tua's return to get into the playoff picture. The Packers are a 3.5-point favorite. I think that ends this week for the Dolphins. They struggle in cold weather. Give me Green Bay to roll at home on Thursday night. Bobby.
Everything common sense-wise is telling me to go Packers. So, of course, I'm going to go Dolphins here. I just have that little thing, gut feeling, Dolphins get it done. I felt a lot more confident, and then until I saw how good the Packers have been playing recently, looking at their previous box scores. But there's just some feeling I have, Dolphins get it done. They're desperate.
They are, but the Dolphins don't pull through when they're desperate. They never have. I mean, well, maybe in the 70s, but come on now. Green Bay. Tua's going to freeze. He's going to be frostbitten on his fingers by the end of the first quarter. Give me Green Bay.
You're probably right, and we'll probably get an angry Frank the Tank video at whatever 30 minutes after the game's over. But
do it, Dolphins! He'll be biting his little knuckles. Can't play if it's under 40 degrees.
Telling Ross to sell the team, Stephen Ross or whatever.
Titans are at the Commanders. Commanders, are they fading? I don't know. They got to get this W. They're 5.5-point favorites. The Titans, by the way, beat the Texans last week on the road in a pretty shocking result. I don't think they can do it twice in a row, and I think the Commanders are due for a bounce back. I think they win by a touchdown, if not more. So give me the Commanders at home. Bobby, are your Commanders going to get it done this week?
Man, they are fading hard. And to be honest, I know we texted about this in our group chat about Bo Nix surpassing Jaden Daniels for Rookie of the Year. I think it's legitimately happening. I know I sent a gift back to you kind of like, yeah, right. But I think it's going to happen. I mean, they're just fading. Unfortunately, it seems like that Cliff Kingsbury trend of just being terrible in the back half of the year is continuing. However, the Titans stink. The Titans won last week. They're not going to win 2 in a row, especially going on the road to Washington after being on the road in Houston. Give me the Commanders to cover. I mean, 5.5. Yeah, give me the Commanders.
Oh, sorry, it's back to me. Yeah, look, come on. It's a bad week. Everybody has bad games. It's the NFL. Therefore, anybody can win on any given Sunday. Great for the Titans to graduate from being absolutely terrible to just being meh, kind of like the Panthers did last week by hanging with Kansas City. Doesn't mean they can do it week in and week out. Washington's a better team. Give me Washington.
Steelers are at the Bengals. The Bengals, despite having a poor record, they are the 3-point favorite here. A bit of a fishy line, but I just think the Bengals at home are going to score points, and I don't know. I know their defense is abysmal, but I don't know if the Steelers honestly can outscore them in Cincinnati. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati at home to beat Pittsburgh and cover the 3-point spread. Bobby.
Give me the steel curtain. I think the Steelers get it done. They're coming off a loss in Cleveland. Bengals just have not been able to click this year. I think Russell Wilson rides in Cincinnati.
This is the toughest one, I think, of the NFL picks. You never know with these AFC North games. Cincinnati's the logical pick. I'm going to be wrong for doing this, but I say Pittsburgh does not lose back-to-back games in the state of Ohio, and they come back and find a way. So give me Pittsburgh.
The Buccaneers are 6-point favorites at the Panthers. Panthers playing good ball, but it ends this week. Panthers are due for a regression game, and it happens as Baker Mayfield comes back to Carolina and throws for 4 touchdown passes. Give me Tampa Bay to cover the 6-point spread.
I go, when you're trending upward, there's no regression. And right now, the Panthers are trending upward. In all honesty, I watched the Panthers Chiefs game last week instead of the Commanders-Cowboys, which I'm very glad I did and missed a complete abysmal Commander showing. But Bryce Young looked really, really good. And, I mean, I know a lot of national people have been saying that's his best game, and just him standing in the pocket, making difficult throws, I was impressed. I think they are playing much better ball than they were a month ago, and I just think the NFC South is so bad and such a crapshoot. I'm going the Thurs to get it done.
Yeah, this is one of those. I just don't think Tampa's defense is good enough for them to blow Carolina out. I think Chuba Hubbard has a pretty good day. Tampa wins it by a score, and due to the 6-point spread, I'll take the Panthers to cover.
Eagles are at the Ravens. Should be a great game. Ravens are a 3-point favorite. Baltimore at home. I feel like Philly is due for a loss, and because of that, I'm going to go with Baltimore to win. Again, Eagles also coming off a trip to L.A. now, having to go back on the road.
Baltimore's also coming off a trip to L.A.
And you know what they say, it's not the way there, it's the way back.
However, the Ravens came back from L.A. Monday night into Tuesday morning, and then Philly did it the night before. They both had night.
But they're going to get that. They're going to get that home juice. Was it MT Bank Stadium? MT&T Bank Stadium?
Something like that. Yeah.
In the Charm City.
Whatever it is, the Ravens are going to win, and Keith Mitchell will finally get at least one carry. Bobby, what do you got?
Yeah, I got the Ravens. This is the former Tennessee Titans game. With A.J. Brown, Derrick Henry. I failed to mention in the Commanders-Titans pick, my sister's a Titans fan. She lives in Nashville. When she became a fan, it was A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry, and they were pretty good. Now they stink. Going back to this Ravens game, though, the Ravens get it done at home. I just think they're really good, man. They're a really, really good football team.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just looking, man. The Eagles haven't lost since September the 29th. I didn't even realize they were 9-2. They're a good football team, but they're due for a loss. And they'll bounce back and kick the crap out of the Panthers next week. So when they lose to the Ravens by a touchdown, I will be predicting them to cover against the Panthers next week at home. So give me Baltimore.
Monday Night Football this week, far from a sexy matchup. Browns at Broncos. I guess Monday night, they had the chance to flex out of it, but I think ESPN wants to highlight Bo Nix. That is because, gentlemen, there have been 5 quarterbacks with 20 total touchdowns and 2 or fewer turnovers in a 10-game span within one season. Those 5 quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes, and Bo Nix. Give me Denver to win, but honestly, this spread kind of worries me, 5.5 points. Cleveland's got a good defense. I think this is going to be another meh win for Denver. They win by 3 or 4. But I think they keep it rolling with the win at home on Monday Night Football. So I'll take Cleveland to cover, Broncos to win, but not cover 5.5. Bobby.
I'm still impressed that you were able to talk through that whole Monday Night Football spiel with a straight face. I didn't realize this was the Monday Night Football game, but where you're wrong on it is you may think they're hyping up Bo Nix. Let it be known, Jameis Winston is a national treasure. He is a soundbite waiting to happen, and they want to get him in a soundbite on a Monday Night Football game so the clip can go viral. But he is a national treasure with a soundbite waiting to happen. I'm with you. If I'm betting here, I go Broncos money line, but I go Browns to cover. I think 5.5 is a lot. Browns are a frisky enough team to keep it close, so give me the Browns to cover.
Browns got their primetime win last week. It is going to be ugly, but the Denver defense is going to be the difference in this one. It is going to be very low scoring, and the Broncos are going to win it by 10. I think this is a 20-10, maybe even a 17-7 game. Broncos by 10.
There are your picks for the NFL. When we come back, we'll make an honorary Mac Brown selection for North Carolina and NC State. We'll also wrap up with final thoughts on Navy ECU. This is Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday.
This holiday season, get the gift you really want at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Drive a new Corolla, just $229 a month, or a new Tacoma, only $329 a month, during the holiday trade-up at Greenville Toyota.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Hey, on the mountain we've got a saying. Get off your... Show off.
Mountain Dew.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves tiebreakers.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Unwrap a new Toyota for the holidays at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Get a new Camry, $269 a month, or a new RAV4, $329 a month. Trade up and save at Greenville Toyota.
Back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo.
Drink up, me hearties, yo-ho.
On 94.3 The Game.
Back in Hoist the Colors, final segment here. If you're listening to our live stream version on Wednesday morning, it is official. Blake Carroll named the 23rd head coach in program history. John Gilbert with the following statement. Blake Carroll clearly demonstrated his dedication to our student athletes, coaches, and staff. We all witnessed his contagious energy and enthusiasm for the job, his leadership, communication skills, strong rapport with our players, and a commitment to building a championship program make him an excellent fit. Over the last several weeks, Blake laid out a detailed vision of his approach in leading this program. There's no doubt we will play an aggressive and exciting brand of football and will build a roster that will strive for excellence on and off the field. I am looking forward to working with Blake as we successfully navigate this evolving landscape of college athletics with NIL prevalent and the addition of revenue sharing being instituted soon. So there it is. We'll have continued reaction throughout the day on Hoist the Colors and 94.3 The Game. All right, final segment here. Bobby Harvard and Philip Pilkington back with us. Again, Bobby brought to you by Sup Dogs today. We got to make our honorary NC State, North Carolina pick at the request of these two gentlemen. So blame them.
It's at the request of the state of North Carolina. That's
okay.
Who's requesting.
Yeah, Governor Cooper said we had to do it.
The North Carolina Board of Governors and Governor Cooper are saying that we got to pick NC State, North Carolina. So Carolina is a 3.5-point favorite. Mac Brown's final game. I think North Carolina is just I think they're going to be a walking disaster. I think NC State, Dave Doran, has not had a good year, but he makes a habit of beating the Tar Heels. He does that again. Wolfpack on the road. Bob.
Man, this is going to be just an ugly, ugly, ugly football game. I mean, both of these offenses are horrendous. I will not be tuning into this game for the record. I know we're picking it, but I will not be tuning in. But NC State has to win this game to go to a bowl, which I find hilarious because they were projected to compete to go to the college football playoff for the ACC. I think Carolina gets it done at home. Mac Brown finally beats NC State to ride high and go off into the sunset.
Yeah, there's a reason why Bobby and I wanted to pick this game. It's because we wanted to extend our lead further on Igo because he picked NC State. And this is Mac Brown's last game. These players are going to do it for Mac. Mac was back. All of Carolina was happy. Everybody's sad now. They're going to find a way to do it for Mac. Give me the Tar Heels by 10.
I think the whole play for Mac thing is overdone. If they wanted to play for Mac, they would have played for him throughout the season so he could keep coaching. His time is up. Go Pack.
Go Pack. Wow. You guys heard that here on Hoist the Colors.
I'm cropping that. We're keeping that forever.
In regards to this game, I'm picking the Pack. Gentlemen, hope you guys have an awesome Thanksgiving and everybody listening. But I wanted to extend my thoughts and thanks to you guys because y'all have been a big part of the show all year. Appreciate you guys. I'm very thankful for you both. So hope you have a chance to really enjoy it with your families, and thanks for being a part of Hoist the Colors.
Well, thank you. Definitely thankful for you and leading this show and bringing us on here. It's a blast every week. Also, short little plug here. I know we got to go. 75% off on Hoist the Colors Black Friday deal. I know the coaching search is over, but there's a butt ton of offers being shot out there right now. So recruiting is in full swing already now that Blake Harrell is official. Jump on Hoist the Colors. It's essentially free now.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU.